Welcome to the Sexy Diva World podcast. I'm your host, Charlene, on a platform committed to a world that transforms the listening of powerful females. Our show will cover topics to empower and inspire females to discover and be their authentic self and create a life that they love. Today, we are speaking with the founder and CEO of Foundation Life Coach, Nneka Moncrieffe, and we're excited to have her here as a guest. So, welcome, Nneka.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is exciting. I'm so excited to be doing this with you.
Grab your glass of sparkling wine or sparkling love, that is, because I don't drink. We don't drink. Sexy divas don't drink. So grab your glass of sparkling love, pull back the layers, the challenges of the day, and girl, let's talk.
Let's do it. Cheers.
I'm excited to have you. Thank you for joining us today.
I'm excited to be here. This is one of my passion projects, so this is going to be good.
Awesome. So tell us, in a world of being a sexy diva, you've elevated yourself, and I call you my transformed sexy diva. How is it that you've gotten from where you've been to where you are? And just dive in and tell us, why women stay. Tell us a little bit about your background and your history.
So, for me, why women stay, and this is, my story and may resonate with so many other women. And that's really why this is so passionate for me, is that I felt like if I loved him enough, I could help him heal from his pain when he was younger. And he would open up and I would be able to see who he really is and get all of him. And I know that he had the potential. I just figured, okay, if I love him enough, his awesomeness is going to unfold. He just needs to be loved. And I know I could love him like no one has loved him. And I was going to be there like no one has been there before to help him through his pain. I wanted him to heal more than he could actually heal. I wanted more of him than he could offer me in his brokenness. Beneath it all, I felt he was awesome. And if I just loved him enough, he would love me as I wanted to be loved and what I desired.
So one thing I heard you say that I think that gets most women, tripped up is that he had potential. Like a person shows you who they authentically are, and we fall in love or we fall in lust with their potential. So
yeah,
you want to speak to that?
Yeah, we're hopeful. We can
share a little bit about your background with him. How long were you married to him? How did you guys meet? What's your love story? Don't just not share all the good stuff.
Oh my gosh. So what is so funny now that I see this whole 90-day fiance thing unfolding, I'm like, I did that. We went through that whole process and it was a long process. It took us over 4 years, but we met because I'm Jamaican and I would go back and hang out and, just have a good time. We liked going down for the holidays and different events. And we met at, funny enough, one of our celebrities' parties. He was throwing this party and we were there, kind of bumped into each other. And it just became this, love story that was very passionate and fun-filled because we traveled and did all kinds of stuff together. Well, I would go back there because he couldn't travel up here yet, but we would travel around the island, do different things with friends. We had, mutual friends, and just became a great bonding time. And so then he came up here to the US and we started a family, and we just kept it going.
And how long were you guys married?
16 years.
Got it.
Yeah,
so you know what it means to stay. And I'm so excited that you're going to share the transformation.
Well, it became a transformation because as things started to unfold and we saw the cracks in the marriage and he wasn't getting what he needed and I wasn't getting what I needed. I realized that emotionally there was a lot of brokenness there. And just couldn't find our way back from that. And I was so busy trying to heal him. And I just kept saying and distracting myself from what I needed and how I needed to heal myself, that I was just obsessed almost with just, if I distract myself and keep focusing on him, he's going to be better. He's going to give me everything I need. He's going to be my ace boon coon. He's going to be my knight in charming iron, because I'm going to fix him and he's going to be great.
Got it.
And
Now I
that's
wonder,
really what it was.
like what I hear sometimes too is, and what I'm hearing you share is that you kind of went into the situation at some point. You knew that things weren't kind of where they needed to be, but you wanted to fix him. Like I hear a lot of women, have the mindset like, I'm gonna settle with this because I can fix it, instead of really just authentically saying, what is it that I desire, and does this person meet that, and giving each other the space. So were you trying to fix him, or were you trying to support him in the healing process? What did that look like for you?
For me, it looked like, looking back now, I see it as something different. But then in the moment, it was just sewing into him. I felt like I needed to sew into him because no one had really sewn into him. And I figured if I did that, he was going to be the just everything, everything that I could see, all the potential that I could see in him. I figured if I continued to sew into him, that he was going to just be it. He was going to fill all my emotional voids. He was going to be healed and heal me.
Got
and
it.
create
Okay.
happiness for me.
Yeah. So you felt like healing him heals you, and so you were
Yeah.
committed to healing him, and in the with the space of feeling like, okay, once I heal him, he's going to heal
Yep.
me.
Absolutely.
And
And
it's
we're going to be
interesting
happy.
yeah, that's interesting. And did you, because like for me, what I hear in that is that, and women do this a lot, or I hear other women share their stories. Instead of going inwardly and trying to fix yourself, you had it that you fix him and he fix you.
Mhm.
Right. So that's
Yes.
so awesome. All right,
Yes.
cool. Thank you. It's awesome. All right.
Yep. That was a lot of that. And then it came to the point where, you got to the point where it's like you invested so much time into helping him heal. It's like, well, I'm not going nowhere now. I've, spent this amount of time. We've got kids. I'm not going to heal him or, get him where he's doing all the right things, bringing the flowers, making good love. And then he go move on to another woman. I'm like, no, I've gotten this far. I've
Right.
invested this much. We're going to stay and we're going to fight this out. We're going to hold on through this.
Right. Okay. And so what did it, I mean, what did it look like? When did the shift happen? What does the transformation happen? Where you are now with your relationship?
The shift happened when I finally started to do some self-reflection and some healing and trauma healing work, and realized that what I was doing was filling an emotional gap. I really was not, I was creating a trauma cycle, of the what
Tell us
if.
more. What do you mean by trauma cycle? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Just looking at the what if, what if this happens, and trying to heal wounds that I had with him.
Mm-hmm.
And two broken people, even though broken crayons still color, two broken people, it is very hard to create that healthy relationship and keep those dynamics, healthy when neither one of us are healed. We're taking from each other's glasses instead of coming in the relationship full and pouring into each other to overflow. It was the more he poured into me and I had cracks. It's like that a glass with cracks in it. The more, he would try to pour into me and fill me. I've got cracks, so the water's leaking out. The more I tried to pour into him, and that's really what a lot of this relationship focused on, was me trying to heal him and pour into him. But the cracks were there, and so the water just kept leaking out. And I'm steady pouring in, and I didn't feel like anything was coming back. There was no return. So the shift happened for me in realizing that I still felt empty. I felt lonely. I felt like I was a single, woman raising children by myself, even though I was married. And I remember someone saying that, it's like, you operate like a single mom. And I'm like, wait a minute, I have a whole husband. How does this work? And so the shifting gears started to happen of what is it that I really want and what is it that I'm modeling for my children. I have a daughter who's watching me.
Right.
And it really kind of opened my eyes as she, came into becoming a teenager, and some of those self-esteem issues started cropping up. I was like, whoa, what am I modeling and who am I being? And it got real quick, because it was cute when they were little. It's easy to play off because I could focus on them. I could just keep myself busy. I could mask my pain. Had a Band-Aid. It was great. Now that my mirror is reflecting, I'm seeing what I'm doing, and woo, that look in the mirror was not pretty, because I did not want to continue these transgenerational things of ways of being as a woman, as a wife, and what to expect. I didn't want my daughter to think that this was okay.
Right, right. That's so awesome. So once you had the shift, once you chose, like, okay, look, I've poured into him. And one of the things that I always say is that there's nothing wrong with operating from someone that has potential, but you've got to also take a look at like what they're showing you too as a reality, because sometimes their potential may never realize, right? And then also I have it that if you're pouring into someone and they're healthy and whole, or they're working on being healthy and whole, then their overflow, then pours into you. But if you're pouring into someone, and I refer it to like, if you're a pint and or if you're a gallon and you're pouring into a pint, well, eventually that pint is going to overflow and flow into you.
Right.
Right. But if you're a gallon and you're pouring into a pint and the pint has a leak in it or a hole in it, it's a leaking pint, right? It never has the capacity to pour back into you. So you're constantly pouring into a pint that has a hole that leaks everything out, and then that depletes you until there's nothing left to give. Right? That's kind of my little analogy. So when you really got that, okay, he's not pouring back into me, I feel lonely, I'm in a marriage and I'm operating like a single person. How did the shift happen, as far as when you decided to leave, separate? How did you make the choice to separate, and with the kids involved and all? How has that been?
The choice to separate was because of the mirror reflection. My daughter mimicking some really just sad, low self-esteem. And I'm like, whoa, where are you getting this from? Your mom was confident. Your mom was, and I'm like, but she's mirroring me. She's mirroring my sadness, my sad emotions, my feeling less than, my trying to cover and put on a brave face. She was showing me who I was being, and I had to break that. I didn't want her to grow up thinking that that's what a relationship should look like. These are the sacrifices you have to make. So I decided to come back towards family and be with family. And it was a difficult transition for the kids, for myself. But it was one that was necessary. And it eventually got better because I started to find myself. I started to love myself again. I started to pour into myself, do more self-care, and really start to work on the pieces of me that needed healing.
Okay, that's awesome. And so, like, that's your story, right? And so you stayed in it for 16 years, and you felt within all the 16 years that was pouring into him, and he was going to eventually transform and heal. So your authentic reason for staying, was it only because you thought he was going to change? Was there anything else that you discovered that had you stay? Because we really want this to be able to help, all the women that are going to be joining us, because everybody's reasoning for staying is different. But did you discover some other things while you've gone through your transformation process?
I think the major thing that hit me like a ton of rocks was fear.
Fear. You had to stay. Okay.
I was just so focused on him that I was covering all of my emotional pains, which included fear of abandonment, fear of rejection. And so leaving would bring all that back, right?
Right.
Would bring all that to the forefront. It's like, okay, now how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to deal with low self-esteem, abandonment issues? No, it's okay. I already know what I'm working with. I know what it's broken. I know what it needs to oil change. I'm just going to stick right here and do this, even though it keeps leaving me on the side of the road. Right. So it was really just fear. It was fear of the unknown, fear of what if, who's going to want me with three young kids, I I just didn't, I was crippled with it. I just really was crippled with fear and was so unsure financially and
Mm-hmm.
emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen financially? You leave and then what? My kids are not
Yes.
going to have access to the life that I always wanted for them. The home, the
Right.
cars, the extracurricular activities, the school, you know,
Yes.
emotionally, am I just
Mm-hmm.
going to be this old bitter lady with a bunch of cats? No, I didn't want that for myself. And so it was just, I wouldn't use the word easier. It was just
Mm-hmm.
more comforting to stay because the fear of stepping outside of that was so
Mm-hmm.
great. The fear of the unknown was so great. And it created
Mm-hmm.
so many insecurities and brought up a
Yes.
lot of insecurities.
Right.
So fear.
So, like, got it. I mean, fear has its way of crippling a lot of people. How do you go past, okay, I acknowledge that I'm afraid. I know, I'm uncomfortable with the unknown. There's some financial things that are in place. How do you go from that experience of fear, like paralyzing you almost, to now you've shifted and you just, even like, did the fear go away or did you act even though the fear was there? Like, so can you, talk us through that process?
I had to act. I had to take steps, even though the fear was there. It was
Okay.
fearful and scary, but I had to make that shift for my kids. I had to. I had to do something greater than myself and outside of myself because
Mhm.
my little mini me is running around looking and seeing what mommy is
Watching.
doing. And
Yes.
I'm very intentional in raising a very confident, loving, self-actualized human being. And if she's going to learn nothing else, she's going to learn how to love herself and how to have other people love her and treat her. And I was not in alignment with that in what I wanted for her. And so that forced me to get outside of myself, overcome my fears, and put faith over fear. I had to find something higher than myself because on my own, I couldn't do it. That's why I stayed so
Woo.
long. I
I love
literally,
that. Faith over fear. I love that. I love that. So, what advice would you share? Is there anything else that you want to share about your story? But I am really also interested in really if you have some type of step by step process or through your coaching and foundation services. Do you have anything that can support people who are in the same position to really have faith and take action, faith over fear, if you will?
so for many people, they enter into relationships like we talked about with their glass half full and expect your spouse to pour into them and making them happy by filling their emotional voids, right?
Mm.
Um, Meeting their expectations of what happy, loving relationships is. So many times I hear people say, when I get married, he's going to make me so happy. Or what is it you love about the person? He makes me happy. Those are emotional voids that people cannot
Right,
meet. And so we
right.
have to learn to become whole by ourselves,
Hmm.
right? And what our spouse is giving us is overflow. We're already abundant by ourselves. What they're
Right,
adding is extra. Your like is extra, right?
right,
And so
right.
when we heal ourselves, we learn to love ourselves and remove the myth that you have to take care of your man to serve him and put him before you. How can an empty glass refill anything? It just becomes a jar to hold things. You're just empty. You're not able to really
Mhm.
give. You're just now holding. That's where hold this from you. So a lot of things that I like to work on with people that come through and look for coaching. With definitely talking about a lot of time, spending time being mindful, practicing self-care, learning how to self-actualize and heal from the inside, right? And
Right.
what that would look like is seeking God or a spiritual higher being, getting a
Hmm.
good therapist,
Hey, hey, somebody.
getting healing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Removing the expectation of another person making you happy and filling your emotional voids. Remove that. What would that look like if you learn to self-fulfill? Buy yourself flowers. Treat yourself to a nice dinner. Take
Yes,
yourself on a vacation. Take your
yes.
girlfriend on a good vacation, right?
Mhm.
What does that look like? And something that is really powerful is don't make the person you are with wrong for who they're being. You met them with these wounds. Unless
Right.
they're abusive and physically abusing you, you met them with these wounds. Focus on yourself first, because what we do because we spend so much time focusing out. Well, he's not doing this. He don't even buy me flowers. He doesn't take me to dinner. But you're focusing on what you don't have versus what you do have.
Absolutely.
Start to heal with you. So the healing starts with you. Don't continue the cycle. Set boundaries and create your path to healing. That doesn't always mean leave. Sometimes people do the work on themselves to heal the relationship together. Parallel healing, where they're working on themselves, you're working on themselves, you're still in the same, under the same roof, but you're healing as you're going, right?
Right.
Also learning yourself and understanding your needs. If you don't know what you need, how in God's creation is someone else going to meet those needs and help you through that?
That's right.
They can't read your mind. You have to understand what it is that you need. What's your love language? What is it that you truly need? What is your high on your priority list? Is it physical time? Is it, is it touch? And understanding, this is something that I really had to learn. And this took a lot of time. These trauma cycles, you learn that understanding that, seeking sexual pleasure is a temporary fix for filling voids you're feeling. And I see that a lot of times in relationships. People are cheating, or they're just having all the sex, but nothing there. There's nothing there because they're just trying to fill the void.
Yes.
Yeah, with the feeling of pleasure, right? And you're doing it with people that are emotionally unavailable. It doesn't fill you up long term. It satisfies you in the now, but not the long term. That's not really what you're looking for. You're really looking for that emotional healing. And you see people committing their time to activities to distract themselves. I was always at soccer. I was always somewhere. We're never home. Always out on the field, somewhere doing something to distract myself from the pain and the emptiness. And so I had to learn to use spiritual grounding to start healing from the foundation. And that's why I created the foundation, is because, it's like a weed. If you pull off the top, that weed is still there. You have to start to heal.
The root is still there. You gotta pull it all out. That's awesome.
And it's painful to start to heal that. When you get to the root of things, just like a root canal. I don't know anyone that's gone through a root canal and be like, I'll sign up for another one. That was pleasurable. No, it's not. But once you do it, the benefits to move forward are outstanding. The confidence that you gain, the power of knowing yourself, it empowers you. It takes you to another level. It helps you to overcome fears that you didn't think you could do. I can be alone and manage finances. I can, do things that I always thought the man had to do.
Wow, that's what I wanted to kind of ask you. Like, now that you're on the other side, because, a lot of the uncertainty and a lot of the fear happens because we don't know what's going to happen once we jump ship. Now that you've jumped ship and you're on the other side, what's that experience for the women who are on the edge and they're getting ready to jump ship, but they're still dealing with the uncertainty and the fear? Now that you've jumped, what's that like, so that people can really get related to what's possible once they've taken that action step?
Empowering. Learning myself, building confidence in who I am and what I can accomplish. And that I don't, all the things that I thought I needed, that's just someone to support me in my journey. I thought I needed to be carried somewhere. You just need carried over the threshold to the front door. That's it. It's a lot of it is teaching me how to love myself and gain confidence in who I am, gain confidence in my body, my looks, my abilities. There's so much that I can do, and creating a village. That was crucial. Having a team to help and support me, on my lowest low of, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? I've had my team to support me, and, my amazing friends that are there to listen, lend an ear, and give great advice. And I see other strong women doing it.
That's so awesome.
It gives me a lot of confidence to know, what, if she's that woman and she's pouring into me and helping me realize who I am, I can do this because she sees it in me. And that's exciting. And that's great.
I get chills hearing it. I get chills hearing it.
Yeah.
I get chills hearing it.
It really, it helps you to get through the next day when you think you can't. And it's nice knowing that you can just reach out at a moment's notice and say, I'm really struggling with this. Can you help me? Oh, but you got this.
Right.
You do this. You dance circles. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Put back on my superhero cape, but I'm gone again. And it's also teaching me how to really prepare for love.
Say that part again. Say that part again. Being prepared and being ready to receive love. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It really, really is. Once you start the healing process and start to really do self-care, you start to get ready and open up and be like, that may not have worked, but now I know what I don't want. Now I know who I am. Yes. Now I know what I'm bringing to the table, overflow. And so someone's going to pray and cover me, and I'm going to pray and cover them, and we're going to go through this together. And I'm excited. I'm not bitter. I am not. People are like, how are you not? I'm not bitter. Do I get sad that, there's a difference in the children not having their dad all the time? Sometimes, but I'm excited about what's possible and what's next for me as I grow on my journey and my journey walk. And I know that God has taken me on an amazing journey, and I'm ready to help, people through this journey as well, and be like, come on, you can do it. You got this.
Yes. And one of the things that I often share is when you really stop and you look at how much time and energy you pour into someone else, when that person is no longer there to take up that space, and all you have to do is now pour that love that you were pouring into someone else into yourself, like it radiates from the inside out, because you're pouring it into yourself. And it's like, if you're in a relationship and you're able to just stop in that relationship and pour into you, like either the person's going to, like match that energy, or they're going to fall away. But most people, they're still pouring outwardly instead of just taking a pause and saying, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm going to pour all the love I'm pouring into someone else into me and just see what happens. So that's so amazing. Is there anything else that you think would be impactful for the audience, ladies who are just, processing their journey to know as they discover their, what their next steps are?
Build a village and put faith. When you don't even know how, you don't know where, don't ask how. Just pray about it. God is he says if we drink from him, we will never be thirsty. And whenever I feel shaky or doubtful or anxious, I just reach for him every day. And I make sure that I'm reflecting and pushing out that reflection of what it is, who I'm being, because it's crucial. You cannot get through this journey without God and the love of God and understanding who you are with God. You're a child of God.
So awesome. Yes. I think that's so awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I think that, for those women who are wondering what it's going to be like if I make this step to transition, I always, think that people have the right to be uncertain and unsure. That's part of the evolution process. But when you can hear someone else share their story and hear their story from before they took the jump and after they took their jump and what the difference is, it just really, it's transformative. So thank you for sharing your story with us. It's amazing being with you, and always amazing being with the audience that join us. And what I like to leave you guys with is, look, honor yourself. Speak your truth. Love yourself. And that's what makes you unapologetically a sexy diva, right? And we're creating a world where women get to stand up and show up and be themselves, live and operate in their feminine energy. And they're honored and they're respected and they're admired and they're appreciated so that they can be a contribution to the world. Women don't have to feel like they have to shrink because they show up. That's what I'm committed to. So thank you guys for joining us. Follow us on all the Instagram platform. Check out my girl, Nneka. Can you share your Instagram handle?
The Foundation Life Coach 1. Woo! On IG. I'm also on TikTok as the Foundation Life Coach 1 on TikTok.
Awesome. Yes, everybody committed to being unapologetically a sexy diva. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching. Connected to this episode? Then join us. Let's build a Sexy Diva world together. Like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with 5 friends. Go follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Listen on all major podcast platforms. Let's go.